Hey guys, welcome to the Golden Goal Show. I'm your host Al, the other half of Vince and Al podcast. And if you're listening to this, you are awesome. And I hope you've had a great day, or you will have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in to the second ever Golden Goal Show, Ep.2. And man, do I have a lot in store for you guys in this show, just like basically every episode. That's a beautiful thing about sports. I was telling Vince, a lot of things happen, and I could be talking right now and a major news story could be breaking news or whatever in the sports world, and that's just the awesome thing. And it kind of stinks because there was just, like I said, so much to cover this week, but I am limited in time, so I will try to cover some of the major things, but also following the guidelines of my show. So if you guys will understand, you don't really have to watch episode 2 to understand. You just go with the flow, and there are some things that will be happening in each show, and then we kind of branch off, and you'll understand once I get into this show. I would like to start off from here on out each episode with a question to you guys to kind of interact with my audience. I want to know more about you guys, and you guys get to know about me a little bit more. I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to ask you the question. I'm a Cleveland fan. I said this in episode 1, but if you don't have time to listen to episode 1, I'm going to say I'm a Cleveland fan. Browns, Cavs, Indians. So before you call me a Cavs bandwagon, I'm also a Browns fan. So I think that balances out everything. Regarding that, I will try to be as unbiased as possible because I want to have the best content for you guys. Obviously, there's going to be times where the Cleveland's in the news and I'll talk about it, or I kind of tie in certain things with Cleveland. So be it. But like I said, in general, I'm trying to make this show as best as possible. So let me hit you up with this question. If you're still listening, it would mean the world to me if you answer this question, and it's a simple question. What is your favorite sports team, regardless of it's the NBA, NFL, MLB, etc., etc.? Just what is your favorite sports team, and even why is that your favorite sports team? So leave that answer down below in the comment section. Leave in the discussion post tab in our YouTube channel, or even email it to at vinceandalpodcast@gmail.com. Anyway, any mode, any method, it doesn't matter. I just want to know. So without much further ado, let's get right into our show. Guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what you hear. Check out our channel if you like what you see. Hit that subscribe button. It means the world to Vince and I. Hit that like button if you like the content in this. And once more, comment. It doesn't have to be my question, just anything. I want to interact with you guys. So let's start here with the NBA Power Rankings. I'm going to be naming the top 10 first, and then I'll give some of my input based on that. So here we go. Number 1, just like last week, Boston Celtics. Number 2, the Houston Rockets. Number 3, the Golden State Warriors. Number 4, the San Antonio Spurs. Number 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 6, the Toronto Raptors. Number 7, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 8, the Indiana Pacers. Yeah, you heard me right, the Indiana Pacers. Number 9, the Milwaukee Bucks. And at number 10, the 10th spot, the Detroit Pistons, who were at last week, number 7. So we've had some climbers, some people who were dropping, and I'm also going to be naming the last 2 teams. Last time it was the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. This time it's the Phoenix Suns at 9-19, which is surprising because the Hawks are 6-20. But we had that 29 Phoenix Suns, and at number 30, just like last week, the Chicago Bulls. So let me now give you some of my input at the number 1 spot, guys. The Boston Celtics, they remain at that spot. Kind of a Cinderella story in a way. They have a great team. They're extremely well head coached. And Kyrie Irving is putting together an MVP caliber season. As a Cavaliers fan, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't be happy for him, but I am happy for him. Cavaliers are doing pretty decent as well, but Kyrie Irving leading the Boston Celtics to the number 1 spot. Now, here's the awesome thing. When I'm seeing the teams, I can kind of branch off. This is what I meant by branching off. I can get other news stories, other things that I heard around the NBA, around the league, and tied in. So at the number 2 spot, we have the Houston Rockets, who were last week. This is off of Sports Illustrated. Last week I used Bleacher Report's Power Rankings. This is Sports Illustrated. But Sports Illustrated had Houston Rockets last week at the number 3 spot. This week they have them at number 2. The Rockets have a 20-4 record. And what I want to talk about them is there is rumors, there is speculations, just like how it has been all season and all summer long. Where will LeBron James end up in this summer's free agency? I'd love to see him in a Cavaliers jersey. I know he's going to retire in a Cavaliers jersey, but I think he's still got a lot of great basketball to go. And if he wants to catch up to MJ in terms of rings, he might have to leave. We'll see what happens if the Cavaliers if GM Kobe Altman can find one more piece. I think the Cavaliers can become a championship caliber team, let alone Isaiah Thomas has yet to return. But LeBron James is speculated, a lot of inside sources, that the Houston Rockets could be a potential landing spot for King James, where he will be teaming up with CP3 and James Harden. Maybe D-Wade follows LeBron to Houston. Maybe the Carmelo Anthony situation in Oklahoma doesn't work out and Carmelo heads out to Houston, and we have a banana boat. Number 3 spot, the Golden State Warriors playing without Stephen Curry. Doesn't matter. Kevin Durant leading them to the number 3 spot. San Antonio Spurs. The reason why they're at number 4 spot is that their superstar Kawhi Leonard is going to be coming back from an injury, and that's what's propelled them to the number 4 spot. And without Kawhi Leonard, they have put together a fairly impressive 19-8 record. So the Spurs are still a force to be reckoned in the West. Number 5 spot, my Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers' winning streak was snapped by the Indiana Pacers. Behind this guy's rising up, Victor Oladipo, and I think he and his recent success is the reason as to why the Indiana Pacers are now at the number 7 spot. LeBron James is just based off of the last win. Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Philadelphia 76ers in Cleveland. LeBron James put together a GOAT-esque performance against the future star Ben Simmons, and he got the last laugh LeBron James did, giving the Cavaliers their 14th win in 15 games. So very impressive run so far by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And once more, they yet have Tristan Thompson. He's been injured. He's probably going to be coming up in these next coming games. And Isaiah Thomas still. He's looking to make his return very soon. Number 6 spot, the Toronto Raptors. They are quietly here in the top 10. Really haven't seen much highlights, haven't heard much speculation about the Raptors, but there they are at 17-7 at the number 6 spot. The Timberwolves, they were at the number 10 spot, and here they are at the number 7 spot. Can they be turning the corner? Has the Minnesota Timberwolves turned the corner? Well, we'll see. Time will tell. But Minnesota, they have some new pieces. So just like we're seeing with the Cavaliers, just like we're seeing with the Thunder, here's the sad thing. The Thunder aren't even in the top 10. Something has to change for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They once were, I believe, a wrecking force, a team that could challenge the Golden State Warriors. They don't look like that team. The Indiana Pacers, once more, I said, Victor Oladipo's recent success has propelled the Pacers. Last week, they're at the 14th spot. Here they are in the 8th spot. Guys, 8, 9, and 10, all Eastern Conference teams. Let me read you how many teams are from the Eastern Conference in the top 10. The number 1 spot, we have the Celtics, that's 1. Then the Cavaliers, that's 2. Raptors, that is 3. Indiana Pacers, 4. Bucks, 5. Pistons, 6. So 6 of the 4 in the top 10 are Eastern Conference teams. Who said the Eastern Conference was weak? Who said that? A lot of, I say, young rising stars in the Eastern Conference. Maybe this is the Western Conference game, but we'll see. It's a quick shift, a quick change. And maybe LeBron James is like, get me out of this Eastern Conference. I'm heading to Houston. I think if you can get the Golden State Warriors out in the Western Conference Finals, you play, obviously you're going to play Kyrie Irving, and at that point, I personally believe Gordon Hayward. In the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe you'll see the Toronto Raptors. Who cares? I just think LeBron James will have the last laugh. Maybe he leaves for 1, 2, 3 seasons with Houston, and he comes back for 1 or 2 more seasons with Cleveland. Wins the scoring title. I don't know. LeBron's got a lot more things to do. He's a very exciting player. I love how he's always the youngest player to do this, even at 32 years old. He continues to break and smash records. LeBron James, I believe, the GOAT. So, other news regarding the NBA, I did touch base on LeBron, the GOAT, to Houston. That was in my title. I had to talk about that. Here's the headline regarding LeBron. Is LeBron breaking the aging curve at 32 years old? For normal people, for normal NBA players, the prime is between, I would say, 26 to 30 years old. At the latest, 30, 31. But typically, it's like 25, 26 to about 28, 29, 30-ish. LeBron James is 32 years old, and he is arguably putting together one of his best, if not his best season in any jersey, Heat jersey, Cavaliers jersey. He's putting together one of his best seasons statistically. I think he should be MVP, but if it's Kyrie Irving, so be it. The Ball brothers, LaMelo Ball and LiAngelo Ball. You know, I talked about LiAngelo Ball, or actually LeVar Ball dropping LiAngelo Ball out of UCLA. Those two guys are going to pursue basketball overseas on a team I cannot pronounce in Lithuania. They signed a 1-year contract. I think they're making about $500,000, which is extremely good. But the Ball brothers, Lonzo's just not doing good. Kobe urges him to have some more urgency. This kid needs to get better faster if he wants to be the franchise. He wants to be the face of the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's head on over to the NFL. A lot to talk about in the NFL as well. At the number 1 spot, we had the New England Patriots. At the number 2 spot, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 3 spot, we had the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 5, the Minnesota Vikings. 6, New Orleans Saints. 7, the Los Angeles Rams. 8, the Seattle Seahawks. 9, the Carolina Panthers. And at the number 10 spot, wow, the Los Angeles Chargers. And the bottom 2 teams, we have the New York Giants with a 2-11 record, and like always, the Cleveland Browns, an 0-13 record. We have some things we're going to talk about. The Browns, we talked about the Giants last week with Ben McAdoo. But before we do that, let's look over once more the top 10 in the NFL and give some of my 2 cents about it. The Patriots are doing Patriots things, even at, I think he's 40. At 40 years old, Tom Brady is putting up some great stats. Tonight's actually Monday night, and I'm in a big fantasy football league. And I'm going to say my cousin, he needs Tom Brady to have a big game, as well as Cooks, who's also on the Patriots. He needs him to have a big game to come back and make it into the championship game. So we'll see. Can Tom Brady do it? He has done a couple big stat games this season. Can he do it tonight on Monday Night Football? The Steelers, I personally don't believe are that good, but they're finding ways to win. On Sunday, they had a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, and they fought for their brother Ryan Shazier, who suffered a spinal contusion. That's right, you heard me, spinal contusion. There was fear that he was paralyzed, but he's okay. He just had a successful surgery. But the sad thing, and there's a lot of speculation, that he will never return to the game of football. Number 3 spot, once more injuries. The Philadelphia Eagles. Man, it must be something with the state of Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia Eagles, starting and future star, if not star already, an MVP caliber quarterback Carson Wentz, who the Browns passed on, tore his ACL in one of the marquee matchups of the NFC, where the Philadelphia Eagles were battling it out in the Coliseum against the Los Angeles Rams. Carson dove for a touchdown. They called it a touchdown at first until there was a holding. Tore his ACL. He actually got up and finished the drive throwing a touchdown before marching out to the tunnel. Carson Wentz suffering an ACL. What does this mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? What does it mean? Well, a lot of people are freaking out, but could Nick Foles put together another special season like he did in 2013. I don't know how I'm retaining all this information, but can he put together the best season that he did, like I said, in 2013? I think he had 119.6 or something QBR, which is the highest in Eagles history, and I think either the 5th or 6th highest QBR in NFL history. So, you did lose Carson Wentz, but Eagles fans, you rally around this guy, you fight for your brother Carson, and you hope that Nick Foles does Nick Foles things and maybe gets you to a Super Bowl. I don't know, Eagles just don't have much luck. The Jaguars at the number 4 spot is the weirdest thing I personally, just to say it. The Jacksonville Jaguars, known not really for the great football, and Blake Bortles really isn't that great of a quarterback. But when a team is feeling hot, when a team starts to see wins and they're pulling wins against, for example, a great team such as the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night, that is huge. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, what they have done so far, do deserve that number 4 spot. It's just so weird to admit that they're there. The Minnesota Vikings suffered a loss to the Carolina Panthers, but they're at the number 5 spot. The Saints, horrible start, I think, to start off the season, but have they turned it around? Drew Brees is playing like an animal. As old as he is, he's still putting up. So the NFL still feels good with Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and can Aaron Rodgers come back and lead the Green Bay Packers to the postseason? A lot of these older but future Hall of Fame quarterbacks are still balling out in the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams, like I said, another young quarterback that the Browns could have drafted, Jared Goff. Let me just say, what an entertaining game it was between the Eagles and the Rams. Two young teams, two teams that just didn't have too good of a season last season and are taking the league by storm this season. What a matchup. What a game. The Eagles came up on top, and that is why they're at the number 3 spot. Seattle Seahawks, 8-5, but they're at the 8th spot. Russell Wilson, I think he deserves the MVP now that Carson Wentz is out. He is leading his team. There's not many weapons. I think the team is just not rising up for Russell, but he is still leading his team. We'll see what happens in future weeks and into the postseason. The Chargers at 7-6 are at the 10th spot. See, I just don't know if they're that good. Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback and possibly another future Hall of Fame quarterback, maybe. But they're having a battle. They're battling out in their division with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. But who will advance out of there? Who will win the division? Will it be the Los Angeles Chargers or will it be the Kansas City Chiefs? Let's move on down all the way to the number 32 spot. Cleveland Browns fired yet another person and are hiring another person. Typical Cleveland, isn't it, guys? Cleveland Browns fired head of the president of something operations, Sashi Brown, and have hired general manager John Dorsey. As a Browns fan, I am excited. He was able to turn around the Chiefs organization and bring much success, but he was fired effective immediately 5 months ago by the Chiefs as they were kind of heading towards a different direction. And a little karma for the Chiefs, I would say. Started out hot, and now here they are at 7-6. Browns, we'll take them. John Dorsey, I think, has his head on his shoulders. He knows what it takes to have a winning organization. And guys, as a general manager, he is living out the dream. I think he is probably in the best spot for a general manager. He has a load of draft picks. I'm excited to see what he does with it. He has a lot of young talent, a great foundation, in my personal opinion, here in Cleveland. No, the Browns don't have their future quarterback yet in Deshaun Kaiser. Maybe he'd be a good backup. He has developed. He has grown a lot, and I think that does show something about head coach Hugh Jackson, that he's able to develop. Will John Dorsey head in another direction and fire Hugh Jackson? Well, I mean, after the overtime heartbreaking loss to the Green Bay Packers, maybe. The Browns played exceptional, I think so, throughout 3 quarters. But in the 4th quarter, they collapsed. Bad play calls, bad decisions by the players. And and also a little help by the referees for the Green Bay Packers. But regardless of that, they went into overtime, and DeShone Kizer made a horrible throw, intercepted by the Packers. Packers score a touchdown, defeat the Cleveland Browns 27-21 in First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, dropping the Browns to a awful 0-13 record. Can they turn it around? I think we do. That's what the Browns say every single season. Am I right? But we'll see what happens. Let's hear a couple of things of what General Manager John Dorsey had to say. John Dorsey, take it away.
Let's reawake the sleeping giant, the Cleveland Browns. I'm kind
not sure if you heard him, but
you know what? Let's reawake the sleeping giant, the Cleveland Browns. I'm kind of excited about
the sleeping giants. The Browns were a very, very successful organization, very successful franchise back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and actually even at times in the 80s, maybe little periods in between those larger periods. The Browns won a lot of championships, never won a Super Bowl, but Browns have a lot of rich history. John Dorsey later goes on to say a couple of these things later on here. 15 seconds or so. Listen to John Dorsey, so bear with me.
We want to be competitive every year. We want to be AFC North. We want to compete with these guys year in and year out, and we're going to do that. I can tell you that. I'm with the Cleveland Browns now, and you know what? Let's roll.
Tony's question.
Let's roll, says Browns General John Dorsey. General Manager John Dorsey. Let's roll, man. I'm excited to see what you got to do. He has a huge resume. I'm excited. We'll see what happens. Like I said, will he fire head coach Hugh Jackson? I think so. I think John Dorsey, he wants his organization. Hugh Jackson and Sashi Brown took the bullet in terms of the rebuilding, took the losses and everything, and now John Dorsey is going to be reaping the rewards, and the head coach that he names. Both of those two will be reaping the rewards. That's done with the NFL and the NBA because they are in season. You understand what that reference means if you listen to episode 1. But there's one news story that I need to talk about in the MLB. Very simple, straightforward. Giancarlo Stanton, the home run leader in the MLB last season, will be joining the Rookie of the Year, Aaron Judge. All rise. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge in a New York Yankees uniform as long on the side with Gary Sanchez, etc., etc. How scary are the New York Yankees? And this is coming from a Cleveland Indians fan. Very, very scary. The Indians blew their opportunity, I personally believe, of beating the Yankees, blowing a lead like they did in the World Series. Yeah, I don't care. Let's see what happens. Maybe they'll become like the Oklahoma City Thunder, where there's just too many stars, too much star power. It's a little bit different in baseball, but I'm excited. I don't know if this is great for baseball. The New York Yankees are a huge, very powerful, very rich organization. I think they do some unfair things, but they find ways to win. They had a couple down years, and here they are back, hoping to become another dynasty. So that's it with the MLB. Not really any NHL news for me worth mentioning. Champions League draw. I'm going to end this show on that. I'm a soccer fan, but the show really isn't that big on soccer, but there's a Champions League draw. What is the Champions League? Well, to save about 5 minutes of kind of breaking it down for you guys, maybe you could go look it up on YouTube, go look it up on Google, what the Champions League is. It's basically, how can I best state this? It's basically the best of the best from all the leagues in Europe battling it out in one Super League. And the best of that Super League are crowned the Champions League champions, obviously, and that's why it's called the Champions League. It's the best of the best from each league. For example, La Liga from Spain, the Premier League from England, the Bundesliga from Germany, etc., etc. The top teams, they have a algorithm to it, but basically it's the top teams from all of those leagues come together to form one main league, and they have groups, and the best teams from each groups, after playing each other twice, advance, and then they draw all those winners and put them next to each other. So Juventus versus Tottenham. These games will be in February and March. Basel versus Man City. Porto versus Liverpool. Sevilla versus Manchester United. Real Madrid versus PSG. That is an unfair draw. No, regardless of what side you come from, whether you're a Madrista or you're a PSG fan. Shakhtar Donetsk, whatever they're called, versus Roma. Chelsea versus Barcelona. Bayern Munich versus Besiktas. And obviously the main match, there's actually 2 games. It's the best, and they accumulate the scores. Whoever has the best score accumulated advances. So it's Real Madrid versus PSG. That's the must-watch of the 16. And then obviously the winner of that will then advance to the final 8 to the final 4. And then the championship game is just 1 game. It's a little confusing, but that is it. I'm going to end it on that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Golden Goal Show, Episode 2. I hope you made it this far. I hope you enjoyed the content. If not, whatever. This is just for me. I hope that one day I get to the point where there are people who listen through it all. If you did somehow manage to get past me and my boring talk, let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section. Give me some motivation. Give me some feedback. Tell me some things that you liked from this, some things you might want me to install or instill into the show, maybe some things you want me to take away from the show. I want this show to be the best it possibly can be, and that is a motto that Vince and I go by. We want to do the best in whatever we do. In whatever we do, we want to be the best at it. So, once more, thank you guys so much, so much for tuning into the Golden Goal Show, hosted by Al, the other half of Vince and Al podcast. And guys, I will see you next Tuesday for episode 3 of Golden Goal Show, and I will also see you this coming Thursday for episode 2 of the Vince and Al podcast. And Saturday, guys, Fade from Silence, hosted by Vince, will be out as well. So if you have any free time, if you're subscribed, go tune in. See you guys.